Hey, Dr. Trevor Cates here. Today, I want to share with you some tips for spring around hormone balance and mindset practices. So, there are 7 different mindset tips specifically for spring that I want to share with you today. But first, let's talk about what's happening in the spring. So March 20th is technically the spring beginning of spring. So spring equinox. And that means the spring equinox is like an equinox is when the day and night are of nearly equal length. So it is a perfect time to start something new, to begin something new. And that includes mindset practices because mindset practices are one of the biggest things that you can do to help with balancing hormones. And then hormones then help your skin, your overall health when they're in a balanced place. So when we go from winter to spring, what's happening is the sun is getting closer to us. We're getting more sun exposure. This is a really great time to start some new mindset practices to shift out of the winter blues and so that we can support some hormonal harmony, some mindset shifts and practices. And so it's a really great time. Now, this is for the Northern Hemisphere. If you're in the Southern Hemisphere and you're happening to be watching this, your equinox, your spring is going to be in September. So we're a little backwards, but most of you I know are in the Northern Hemisphere. So it is a really great time. It's a time of, the flowers are coming out, buds are bursting, leaves are unfolding, animals, insects, all of these different plants are sort of waking up from a slumber from the winter. And so for humans, we are impacted by all of this as well. So it's really important for us to think about ways that we can adjust to this. And I've talked about skincare practices for spring, how to shift those up and how those help. But I also want to talk about what we can do for mindset as well, because that's really important. And for those of you who know me, I'm not only a naturopathic physician, and I've been a naturopathic doctor for 22 years, but I also have a master's degree in spiritual psychology. So this is a big part. Mindset is a big part of what I talk about in my book, Clean Skin from Within, what I talk about in my next book. So if you think about what's happening in spring, there's some big changes that are happening. Now, if you're a woman, it's interesting. If you're trying to get pregnant, spring and summer are actually really good times to do that. If you're not, it's still good to know what's happening with our hormones and how and they change with the season. But it what happens is with more sunshine, women get more production of FSH, follicle stimulating hormone. And that actually is what helps with us ovulate. So if you're trying to get pregnant, this is a really great time to start thinking about that. If you're not, it's still good to get your kind of cycles on track. There's so many women that turn to things like birth control pills that suppress their hormones, that kind of throw things out of balance. So it's really important to get our hormones back in balance. And one of the ways we could do that is resetting with each season. And mindset is a big part of that. Of course, the other lifestyle practices play a big role as well. So some of the things that the hormonal changes that happen with the spring also is that our estrogen, as women, our estrogen levels start to increase and our cortisol levels start to get lower in the spring and summer. So that means with estrogen, that's more of like our female hormone, and that helps us with things like fertility or getting our hormones back in balance. But cortisol is our big stress hormone, and that tends to be higher in the winter. So when we go into spring, it's a great time to do things that kind of help with that shift in cortisol. So here are 7 mindset practices to help you with in the spring specifically that can help you with shifting and getting ready for spring. So now's a great time to start doing these things, but especially when you get to March 20th and throughout the whole spring season, you can do these things. But so the first one is about decluttering and spring cleaning. It's a thing, and it's not just a good thing for our homes, and it's not just a good thing for our physical health, but it's also good for our mental health. When we declutter, and I'm actually looking at my office right now, like I've got some decluttering to do. It's not March 20th yet, so I have a little bit of time, but believe me, I need to do some decluttering too. So, decluttering and spring cleaning actually getting rid of stuff actually helps our mindset. When we always have a stack of stuff that's our to-dos, which I'm looking at right now, it's sort of this weight that kind of like this heaviness that's on us. And so we want to clear that out, organize. It's the perfect time to do that when the sun is shining and the cortisol levels are dropping, when we're not as stressed. Now's a good time to use that motivation of the sunshine and the your cortisol to your lower cortisol to do something different, to actually do some spring cleaning. And then the second thing to do is, I'm a big fan of getting in nature, because when we get in nature and we reconnect. And so it's like starting a garden, or even starting to think about starting a garden, can be really great. It may not be like in Park City, we just got 2 feet of snow. So there's no way I'm starting a garden anytime soon. But for those lucky people that live in a warmer environment, then you could definitely start a garden. And even if it's something that's like small, like an herb garden. Or if you're like I am, starting to plant some seeds in the house so that they can start to get bigger. The plants can get bigger so we can actually plant them outside when the weather's warmer and we don't have 2 feet of snow. So that's the second thing. The third thing, and these are all great for your mood and your mindset. And of course, they help in other ways too. So a third thing to do that I think is a really good tip, in addition to decluttering and spring cleaning, is to think of something that you can simplify. Simplifying is, sometimes we get too much on our plates. We have too many things going on. We have too much on our to-do list. So looking at things and ways that you can simplify is a really great mindset practice, particularly in the springtime. We're already spring cleaning, we're already decluttering. Now's a good time to also figure out things that you can simplify. The fourth thing is to try something new. Again, let's take advantage of that lower cortisol level and our hormones, and that little bit of a motivation. And spring and the is a perfect time to try something new. That could be trying starting a new craft, a new art project, learning how to do something different. Starting something new in the spring is a perfect time to do that. The fifth idea I have for you is to light a candle and meditate or journal. This time of year, it can still feel like, oh, it's, so early. It's not really warm yet. It's still this transition time. So, especially if you live places like I do, where there's still snow and cold weather, you can feel like, it'd be nice to still like light a candle to have this sense of fire in our lives and warmth. And if you can build a fire, that's great. If you don't live somewhere where you can build a fire, that's so okay. You can light a candle, because maybe you don't need that warmth. But lighting a candle, doing a little meditation or journaling, and bringing in some of that spring warmth with it's like the perfect thing to do. A sixth idea for a mindset practice would be to take a walk in nature. It's the perfect time when things are just starting to shift and things are starting to sprout and bloom and more birds are coming out, all of that, to get out in nature. And you could even do a walking meditation. So for those of you who aren't familiar with this, it might sound really strange to actually be walking while you meditate, but actually you can meditate while you're moving, and it's a really powerful practice. So basically what you do is you go for a walk in silence, and you really take in the sounds and the sights and the smells around you. So you focus on, like, you hear some birds, or you smell some flowers, or you see the sunset, or whatever it is. You just take all of that out. Maybe it's just you can just hear your footsteps. Here it would be in the snow, or maybe it's on the grass, or on the ground in some way. You can hear that, and you just focus on that, and try and avoid other like random ruminating thoughts and all that. Just focus on these steps that you're taking and the senses around you for a walking meditation. Spring is a really great time to do this. The seventh idea I have for you for a spring mindset practice is to do some yoga or breath work to warm up your body. Still, as we transition from winter to spring, it's still a lot of times our bodies are still trying to warm up from, especially if you've had a long winter. And so there are certain breath work techniques can you really do to warm up your body. And this is particularly good if you're doing some sort of spring cleanse, if you're doing like a juice fast or some sort of fast or cleanse program for your body, to do something to match with your mindset practices to help you get through that. And breath work is a really powerful way to do that. Yoga can be as well, certain yoga poses. And so I talk about all of this in my next book, my upcoming book, Natural Beauty Reset. I'll be talking about the seasons and how to do changes, make changes with movement, mindset, skincare, and food for each season. So that Natural Beauty Reset is now available for pre-orders. You can find it on Amazon, Natural Beauty Reset. It's not coming until September, so we've got some time. But in case you're wondering why I'm talking about the seasons, that's because I've been doing a lot of research on it, how our hormones change with the seasons and ways that we can help. And I've seen this in my practice of 22 years. I'm excited to share more about it with you. Wanted to hop on it and share some of this information with you now. I'll be continuing to share more as we get closer to the book launch. And I hope you guys are having a fabulous get transition into going into spring. Spring is March 20th. Enjoy, and I will see you next time.